Welcome to Pixel Pioneer, where we decode the hidden systems that shape our modern world. Look closely at the timeline of mid-June 2026. Over a period of just a few days, emergency response protocols and safety systems across the United States hit their absolute limits. A military B-52 bomber crashed in the California desert. A civilian skydiving plane plummeted into a Missouri field. And a 1 million-square-foot medical supply warehouse erupted into a toxic fire in Tracy, California. These events span different states, environments, and industries. But dig into the accident reports, and you find the exact same structural flaw. The invisible safety oversight and physical infrastructure we rely on collapsed under pressure. On June 15th, an Air Force B-52 bomber crashed after takeoff at Edwards Air Force Base. 8 people, a mix of military personnel and civilian contractors, were killed in a test mission governed by some of the strictest aviation protocols on the planet. Less than 24 hours earlier, the civilian sector suffered a similar systemic failure. A skydiving flight taking off from Butler, Missouri, lost altitude and nosedived into a field, killing the pilot and all 11 passengers. The aircraft involved was a Pacific Aerospace 750XL. Built in 2010, this single-engine turboprop is highly popular for rapidly hauling jumpers to altitude. Investigations into skydiving operations routinely expose glaring maintenance flaws. Following a 2019 crash in Hawaii, the National Transportation Safety Board publicly warned that the FAA's oversight of the skydiving industry is dangerously weak. Even when major agencies step in, investigations can stall out for years. June 2026 marks exactly 1 year since an Air India Boeing 787 crashed in Ahmedabad, killing 260 people. Today, families of those victims still lack a final report. Investigators indefinitely delayed their findings while analyzing the jet's engine management units in foreign labs. When regulators rely on reactive investigations instead of proactive inspections, massive gaps remain in our airspace. Civilians ultimately bear the cost of those blind spots. Back on the ground, the physical infrastructure is faring no better. On June 11th, a massive structure fire broke out on the roof of a medical supply warehouse in Tracy, California. The local fire chief called the blaze a perfect storm, driven by a total system failure. The facility's 2 internal fire sprinkler networks failed to activate, and the property's external fire hydrants lacked the water pressure needed to fight the flames. Without a functional water supply, the warehouse burned out of control. It released a dense plume of toxic gases, respiratory irritants, carcinogens, and neurotoxins from stored chemicals directly into the surrounding atmosphere. That chemical smoke joined a sky already saturated with pollutants. Simultaneously, emergency crews battled over a dozen active wildfires across California, including the Shore Fire. CAL FIRE data tracks an intense flash drought across Northern California, combined with early fuel curing, meaning vegetation lost moisture months ahead of schedule. Plotting the active fire lines reveals a direct overlap. The major blazes ignited right in the center of these heavily stressed hyper-dry zones. The result is a secondary public health crisis. Major residential areas across the Pacific Northwest and California are trapped under a thick, persistent blanket of toxic particulate matter. A dry summer only escalates into a lethal catastrophe when the environmental infrastructure, like managed burns and reliable local water pressure, is too fragile to contain the initial spark. An uninspected skydiving plane dropping out of the sky, a chemical warehouse burning down because the sprinklers failed, a state choking on smoke because the landscape wasn't prepared for the dry season. As the environment grows more extreme and our technology becomes more complex, simply reacting to disasters after they happen costs lives. Hoping for the best is not a safety strategy. We have to demand proactive, rigorous oversight from agencies like the FAA before planes take off, and robust, modernized physical infrastructure from our local governments before the sparks fly. Thank you for watching Pixel Pioneer. If you want to keep exploring the systems that shape our world, please hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments below.